so it's day 6 of going through my introspective journaling through the A Journey Within book. So the quote for today is, "How many things would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? Make a list of all the things in order of what you'd do first if you knew you couldn't fail. Then answer this question: what's stopping you?" Alright, so if you're following along, take about 10 or 15 minutes to just kind of brain dump, like whatever comes to mind whenever you read this question, and I'll come back here in a second with my response. Okay, so again, the question was, make a list of all the things in order of what you'd do first if you knew you couldn't fail. Then answer this question and what's stopping you. And I just made a list of 5 things. So the first thing is this idea that I've had for like a food truck idea, or just kind of like a food idea. I mean, I've been thinking about it for probably like close to 10 years now, and I'm honestly surprised that no one has done this, because I've seen a lot of different types of food trucks, but I don't think I've seen one like this. So yeah, I mean, that's an idea that I've had for a long time, and there's been a couple of times that I've looked into buying the food truck and all the equipment and everything, and it was, it just seems like it would be a lot to get into, but eventually I would still like to do it. And then I've got this idea for kind of a website. Like, I'm thinking kind of like a website, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want anybody to steal my ideas, but kind of like a website and a physical store that kind of go hand in hand, but they're a little bit different. And I actually have owned the domain name for this website idea for several years now as well. And there's been a couple of times I've started to put in work on it, but have just, never gone completely all the way with it. I've got an Instagram page for it, and I've actually got, because I thought, okay, well, if I'm not going to have time to build a website, let me just start like social media pages for it and just start to get a following on there. So when I launch the website and store and everything, I already have a following, and I've got like over 1,000 followers, but yeah, that's been all I've been doing with it so far. And then, like I said, like a little physical store to kind of go along with it. For my 4th point, I have gym/training/coaching/yoga. And I know I keep circling back between wanting to get into like fitness and like nutrition and things like that. And it's one thing that kind of like ebbs and flows, I got really into yoga a couple years ago, and so I've been interested in, doing like a yoga teacher training and things like that, but it's just something I feel like I would enjoy but haven't gotten around to it. And then I have med school. Like I've said in a previous video, I was initially going towards med school. I have a bachelor's in biology with a minor in chemistry, taken the MCAT, like done all this stuff kind of in that direction, and then decided I didn't even apply to med schools or anything in the end, because even though I was good at science and I'm interested in learning about the body and, disease and all those things, I don't think there was at the time, there wasn't a passion for actually like being a doctor, I guess. But, and also I worked at a hospital at one point as a pharmacy tech, and I mean, I don't know if it was just a bad hospital, but I mean, somehow I've gotten onto nursing TikTok, and it sounds like hospitals are like just kind of falling apart, like, and from my experience working at the hospital, like everybody was just so stressed all the time. They were so busy. There was so like patients I mean, and this was like 15 years ago or something like that. Like, patients, there's no way they can get good care under those circumstances. And like, the doctors didn't seem happy, the pharmacists weren't happy, the nurses were just like stressed and like, you know, just it just didn't seem like a good environment to work in, you know. And I think maybe that really, after that experience, like, I knew I didn't want to be into that. And I know there's different things, like you could go into general practice. I know that like the hospital isn't, you know, where all doctors end up, but yeah, just like after that experience, I was already like second guessing it, but then, you know, after that I was really like, well, maybe let me hold off on this and see, like, maybe research is my thing, maybe medical research. And then somehow I ended up where I am now, studying economics and policy. So I don't know. And I want to mention on the first bullet point, it says I have an arrow and then it says bodybuilding with a question mark. And so let me read through this real quick. And the second part of the question is, you know, what's stopping you from doing this? And I said, the main thing stopping me is feeling overwhelmed from my current work/school situation. I don't feel like I can move on to any of those things until I complete these two. I could be working towards several of them and have to some extent, but I need to get my school/work life balanced before I can work on something else without being stressed. I'm going to try my hardest to get those in line this semester. So I feel like I have been making progress on that. You know, I've been ahead in my classes. I haven't felt nearly like the stress of like classes and homework assignments and things like that. And I feel like I'm starting to get caught up with school, and I'm starting to see like the light at the end of the tunnel. So I do think I've put a lot of work towards that this semester, because that's the main thing. Like, I have all these ideas, I have all these things I want to do, and it's just, I keep feeling held back because I need to finish this first, you know? Okay, and I can tell what mindset I was in right now, and like yesterday's makes sense too. If that doesn't work, I'll seriously consider moving on to one of these other things though. As long as my roommate and I are living together, I should have the freedom and stability to do whatever I want. So I say that because like he's very supportive of me in terms of like school and work and everything, but also in like all my ideas. And sometimes when I'm really stressed with like school or work, I don't think he likes seeing me stressed. And you know, with him staying with me, I have a little bit more financial freedom because I have a roommate, I have somebody that's helping with bills and, you know, things like that. So, and, you know, he's just kind of like, if you're so miserable and you're so stressed about this, why don't you just quit? Like, he's not like wanting me to quit, but he sees like how much stress and anxiety I've been having, you know, over the past couple of years. And, you know, he's just kind of like, well, you know, if I'm here, you know, you can, you know, you'll have the support to, you know, get on your feet if you want to do something else. And so, I mean, on the one hand, I'm glad that I have that option. And I think it's actually made me feel better because I'm kind of like, well, I've got the option to quit if I really want to. But then on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I don't need this option because I might jump on it and actually quit. And I almost did. Like, that breakdown that I had in December, I told my boss, like, I'm going to fail this class. I don't know what to do. I don't know that I'm cut out for this. Like, I was also up for promotion and I didn't even want a promotion, like, but she like encouraged me to do it. She's like, well, you've been working for 5 years. It's time to put in your promotion. And I actually did it a year late because I didn't want to. And I just, you know, we'd already had my promotion stuff in, and I told her, I'm like, I want to pull my promotion packet. I don't think I deserve it, and I don't know what to do. And I just told her, I'm like, I'll try to get through all of this, but if, you know, by spring something's not different, you know, I was just kind of letting her know, like, I'm very stressed, I'm very overwhelmed. I may be quitting, you know, like at some point in the future if things don't get better. But she was really good about it, and you know, things have gotten better. So, you know, but I've had that thought recurring, you know, when things get really bad, like, but I'm too far along in my PhD now. Like, it's too far. I'm almost done with my classes. And so at this point, like, I think it's too far. If it would have been a couple of years ago, whenever I was just getting started and I was feeling this overwhelmed, like, I probably would have quit. But yeah, at this point, it's too far. And I think because work pays for my PhD, most of it, I'd probably have to pay it back. And that was something I told my roommate. I'm like, but you know, I'd have to pay back all the money. And he's like, I'll help you, you know, if that's really what you want. But yeah, so it sounds like I was thinking about that here. You know, I put, if that doesn't work, I'll consider moving on to one of these other things. And then I said, you know, as long as we're living together, I should have the freedom and stability to do whatever I want. But I really do want to finish out this PhD. And then I put also, I listed bodybuilding as an afterthought, which makes me wonder if it's really a priority. So, I mean, yeah, like bodybuilding is not going to be like 100% priority, but it's something that I want to do, I think. And I think it'll be beneficial to me. You know, I don't think it's something that I want to be like my whole life when I do it. Like when I'm in the process of doing it with competing, but I don't think I'm going to be one of those people that like continuously is like bodybuilding. You know, if I do it, it may just be for like a year or two just to get the experience. If I'm being honest, like to get the photos of me being in great shape, you know, if I do decide to get into like, you know, gym training, nutrition, things like that, like it would be good to have those photos to show that like, hey, I did get in really good shape. So I have kind of like some experience to be able to do it. But yeah, and honestly, I think I'm less scared of doing bodybuilding than like some of the other things I listed, like jumping into actual businesses. And because that's just something where you're doing it yourself, you're doing it for yourself, you know, on your own. So I don't feel like there's as much pressure with doing bodybuilding as say like starting a, you know, full-on business. So I do think that'll be the first thing that I do out of all of these. And then we'll just see where the rest of it goes. The website may be the second thing. I don't know. We'll just see. So my roommate is thinking about starting a gym. You know, and if he does that, maybe I could kind of help with that. And I don't know, we'll just see where it goes. But I still agree with the sentiment that I have here is that I tend to get off track and start thinking about all these other things, and I'm not good at prioritizing things. So I do feel like I will be able to accomplish these things better once I finish this other goal. Because if I dropped out and I didn't get my PhD, I'd always be wondering like, what if I would have like finished through. And it's kind of like the apex of education. So once I get there, you know, I could go to medical school, or I could go to law school, or I could, you know, do further education, but like I won't feel like I need to go higher. Like I don't think there'll be like any internal pressure, you know, once I get the PhD to go higher in academics, unless I just decide that I'm really interested. Like, gosh, I'm interested in so many things. Like lately I've been thinking about getting like a degree in full, like I could be one of those people that could just go to school forever. And especially now that I've learned how to study, I think like school would be such a breeze if I were to like go back and just get all kinds of like undergrad degrees. But I don't know. Anyway, that's how I responded to that question. I don't know. What are there things that you have really been wanting to do in life that that you constantly think about, and what's stopping you from doing it, and what steps do you need to get the motivation to get started? But I'll be back tomorrow for day 7. I can't believe I've made it like a week. So yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow.